My first sales job was back in 1982, and 34 years later, I've learned a few things. A few lessons that I wish I knew when I first started selling. In this video, I want to share those lessons with you, so hopefully you won't make the same mistakes I made. And I'll share those lessons with you right after this. Hi, I'm Christine Harrington, the Savvy Sales Lady, your personal YouTube sales coach, helping you get savvy about selling to grow your income. In the beginning of my sales career, there were 3 things that I wish I knew. Number 1, sales training never ends. If you're watching this video now, you're already ahead of the game because you're interested in learning more about selling. So I thank you for taking your valuable time to watch this video. You see, after my initial training, I thought I knew all there was to know about selling. And when I became moderately successful at sales, I thought I had arrived, not fully understanding that I needed more sales training to take me to the next level. Boy, big mistake. Sales training never ends. To avoid the same mistake that I made, let me suggest that you read 1 sales book a month. That's what I do after I got my head turned around. I have a few favorites I'd like to share with you. Zig Ziglar, Over the Top. I have read this so many times. And Jeb Blunt's Fanatical Prospecting. Again, I've read this at least 4 or 5 times. But I encourage you to read new material every month and continue to go back to the oldies but goodies. Lesson number 2. Don't underestimate the power of the handwritten note. Back in 1982, before the dawning of the laptops and PCs and email, that's how old I am, I sent handwritten notes the old-fashioned way. After each sale to my new client, or if I found out that they had been promoted in their business, I always sent a thank you handwritten or a note handwritten congratulating them. And I often sent birthday cards that I wrote out my signature on. I always addressed the envelopes too. I didn't use mailing labels. I handwrote their address. Well, the dawn of email came, and everybody thought that that was the best thing since sliced bread. So I jumped on the email bandwagon too, and those handwritten notes went to the wayside. Years later, I ran into an old client of mine, and he said to me, "You know, years ago you sent me a handwritten condolence note when my mother died. I carried that handwritten note around with me for years because your kindness touched me so profoundly." Wow. I realized then, you never know how you touch other people's lives, even in business. So guess what I did? I went back to those handwritten notes, and I suggest you do that too. Lesson number 3, cold calling will always be relevant. I used to hate cold calling. I mean, hate it. And when all of the so-called sales experts came out and said, cold calling is dead, man, was I thrilled. No more cold calling. So I stopped doing it, and I refused to admit to myself that it severely impacted my sales. Use every prospecting tool available. Don't limit yourself. Cold calling will always be relevant. That was a really hard lesson for me to learn. I learned a better way, a smarter way to cold call, and it helped me so much that I was asked to interview about my cold calling techniques. If you haven't watched that video, you can watch it here. It's called the 3 Clever Tips for Cold Calling Follow-Up. And frankly, it is rare that you read articles or hear about how to properly follow up after a cold call. But actually, it's quite brilliant how you could follow up. When the sales experts say, cold calling is dead, what they're really saying is they don't know how to cold call or they don't do it well. Yeah, the real truth is if you hone your cold calling skills, you'll learn to love it because you'll see it working and you'll know it's still relevant in business to business sales. People still want to connect with people over the phone or face to face. They don't want to hear the sophisticated marketing robocall. Have you ever gotten one of those calls? Oh, they're awful. I always hang up. Have you ever stayed on the call from a robocall? Nothing will replace the human connection and touch, nothing. So let me just recap. The 3 lessons are: never stop sales training, use handwritten notes whenever possible, and learn to love cold calling. Now I hope this helps you avoid making the mistakes that I made in the beginning. Now it's your turn. Let me ask you. Share with the community, what mistakes have you made that you've learned from that you can share with others to help them? Will you share your experience in the comment section below? And if this video was helpful, I invite you to hit that thumbs up button. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And remember, sales is a journey. It's not a quick trip around the block. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.